In this video, we're going to be installing a product that's quite old, but this is the way we tackled it, and it's the rear bumper that I could get for the most affordable price. If you had a keen eye on the last adventure with this vehicle, the bumper was a bit damaged, and if you look carefully at this picture or this video, you would see that parts of the bumper are actually damaged and it got crumpled a bit when we were trying to do a river crossing that was quite steep on the embankment, and that number plate piece over there caught a rock, and it was hanging in a certain angle that looked very messy. So in this video we'll be installing the AEV rear bumper without the carrier. I've got a heavy duty carrier and I've got a 35 on the back, so hopefully this video will shed some insight to whether that heavy duty carrier can work with the AEV rear bumper. It's about 2 a.m. as you can see, 2:36, 2:37, and I'm going to get down there under the car, take this bumper off. It's quite easy, I'll show you, and let's get into it. One thing that's important to note is that this video is not an instruction manual or a tutorial. It's literally what I did to my JK. And with regards to the heavy duty carrier that I've got and the AEV rear bumper, this is with regards to the JK. So if you've got a JL or something newer, I would recommend double checking and making sure first. Don't just rely on this video over here, because this is specifically for the JK. Okay, so taking a look at what's involved over here, we've got this hole over here that's supposed to have a rubber grommet in it. But sorry, it's messy. I haven't cleaned this place up yet under the car. But we're going to disconnect the camera, and then the next step is we're going to disconnect the lights that are in this bumper. Obviously you've got lights for the number plate. I'm going to start with this bumper. I'm going to take off those two bolts over there. I'm going to take off that bolt, that bolt there, and two bolts on the other side over there. On a side note, we had an issue where the car was rattling, which I managed to fix. I hope this doesn't transmit heat into the body, but look, it's little compared to just leaving it open. But I wanted to put this heat shield back because I know this exhaust gets really hot, especially when you're sending it. So what I found was, with all the vibrations, the bolts that were holding that plate in place had, or the sections that were holding that plate in place, sort of broke away, and the plate just sat on the exhaust. Okay, so it didn't take me this long. I had to stop and go do some other work, but I've got the bumper off. It was actually quite quick. Just those two bolts. There's a bolt somewhere there, a bolt somewhere there, and you have to remember to unplug the harness. Don't just pull on it. So once you get that out, it's ready. Okay, so it is much later in the day. I spoke to you at about 2 a.m. and it was very dirty. We don't need to get this thing spotless, but just took off a lot of the mud that was clinging onto it. It's nice and clean now. What I am going to do is put a bit of rust treatment on the side, like in there where those two side pieces came off. I'm not going to need that recovery point anymore, because the new bumper has recovery points. Hopefully they're strong. And we've also got the high hitch point, so we're going to put that on now. But before we do that, we'll put some more rust prevention in here. Okay, so I installed the high clearance hitch point, which I'm very excited about, but I placed the new bumper in place just to see if it fits and to see if everything's good before we go any further. So that's with the hitch point bolted on before torquing it down, and I just placed the bumper there to see if everything fits, and it works quite well. So the reason why I had to get this other hitch point is the original OEM one sits too low. Another thing I was checking over here is if that 35-inch tire clears the AEV bumper before going any further, and if it gives at least a bit of room for flex and space so that dust and mud doesn't get trapped in there. So we are ready to go ahead with installing this bumper. We've checked everything, made sure everything will fit well before going further and wasting any time. I got a bit frustrated because the instruction manual doesn't give you the exact torque specs, the exact setup if you're just installing the bumper alone. So it took a lot of reading of forums and stuff just to make sure I've done it correctly. But here you go, it's done right, and you'll see how it goes. Okay, so we have torqued down the hitch point. Now we're installing the bumper, and what we're going to do is start with these three screws over here. These three bolts just hold the tank in place, but we're not going to tighten them. We're just going to put them in loose, and we're also going to put the L brackets that were from the original bumper. And then we're going to get to these bolts over here. We have to line up the holes and get them in. So with the bumper, you can see the holes actually show. And then we're going to put the brackets on. But let's start with these bolts on the tank. So these three on this side, put those in first. Okay, so after you do all your measurements and you make sure everything's fitting, then what you do is you put the tanks into those carriers on the sides and you slide the bumper in. It's easier to do it with two people and it just goes in easily. And you align all the bolts, you put them in, thread them in, don't tighten them down yet, get everything aligned properly, and you have to make sure it balances out well on both sides. Do the measurements, make sure. If you're a bit technical savvy, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about so that that bumper sits nicely and it's appealing to the eye. I couldn't find any instructions on what to do if you're installing the bumper alone. So this rotation bracket that comes with the kit, I put it on the left hand side as it said in the manual. And on the right hand side, I put some really thick washers, as you can see. You have to reuse those old L brackets that come with it, and as you can see, I'm still in the process of tightening everything down. So it was a step-by-step process. I started with the positioning of the bumper, making sure it's all leveled out and everything, and then I went to those outer points and I did that. As you can see, I've got a different rim on the spare tire, but I'm working on getting another one that matches with all the other rims. Unfortunately, some of the shops that sell rims for cheap that fit on the Jeep Wranglers sell only 4, and then you have to hassle to get the 5th one. I've made a plan and I'm going to be having that 5th one soon. But as you can see, the tire clears properly with the heavy duty tire carrier that has stronger hinges for the door. I bought my heavy tire carrier before buying this bumper, so I didn't want to waste money buying this again. So I'm happy it fitted and it was adjustable. As you can see, I used massive washers. I double placed washers over there and I torqued down the bolts. Another thing you would find that is in the instruction manual, it doesn't really give you any torque settings. So I had to make a plan, search the whole internet, every single page on the internet to find some useful information. I made a plan and got that done. So when everything's bolted down, you'll see the finished product. On the tire mounting plate, you can see it's mounted at the highest point. Just move my camera cover out, where all 6 bolts are still holding the tire, this piece over here to this. So it's at that point over there. If you've got a bigger tire than 35, these are 35-inch tires. I don't know what you'd use, but for me this setting worked and it's quite solid. It seems to be holding the tire. So overall impressions, the bumper looks quite nice in my eyes. I know it is a bit of an outdated product that's being installed on a new video, but just for reference sake, if you've got the heavy duty tire carrier like I do, it will work. I've got 35-inch tires. If you've got 37s, most probably not. That liquid dripping from the exhaust is just condensation. The car was parked for quite a while and that happens a lot in our area. It's not oil or antifreeze, but I am extremely pleased with this bumper at the moment. Hopefully it can hold up off-road and it'll be able to take a beating. It gives a bit more departure angle, as you can see from the side, which I like. And it's also got those bars to slide on if the bumper gets caught anywhere. I'm enjoying these sandstorm fender flares with the daytime running lights, and I've got my Angry Grill over there, which I'm using for rough use. I've got my original gym safe and stored away for a time when I need it. But that's a wrap for this video. Thank you for watching. Until next time, cheers.